Hello, everyone. It's another week of awesome sports. I'm Dante Suave. This is Mr. J.
What's
Welcome
going
to
on,
United World of
everybody?
Sports, episode 84 in the hills.
Man, and what a it's been an interesting week with breaking news both on the NBA front, the NFL front on shoot really two different fronts with that one because one just broke or that concerns your team with Tampa Bay. And then what happened with Mike Shanahan over the weekend with getting in an accident and people joking saying Brendan Ayuk ran him off the road. Uh, yeah. So we got a lot to cover real cool, really today. It is we got this for about good 2 hours, so we about to go ahead and get rolling with it. So,
One of the messages you sent me, I actually had a topic to one of the things that I said I wanted to talk about because um the way I see it, people like me are owed an apology by athletes and their supporters. So here's what happened. I was scrolling through Facebook or whatever, and I found this thing concerning T.O.
mhm.
And there was I don't know if you had a chance to look at it, but there was something he said in terms of regret. Let me see if I can find it. He was basically talking about if he had to do over again, and what he would do. There it is. All right. So, and the way they messaged the real was one thing Terrell Owens would change if he could. And I want you to listen to it
Mhm.
because what he said gave me, not only did it remind me why I address things the way I address things when it comes, even though I don't know these people very well, the reason why I end up I do label them, but there's a reason why I label them. If it looks like a duck and walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck.
Mhm.
I don't necessarily know you, but the way that you are carrying yourself tells me that there's some reasons, there's some obvious reasons, and I can only go by what how you're carrying yourself and what ends up coming out in the wash because people trying to protect their own selves because every time somebody, especially in one of these African American players, somebody say something on them, everybody want to say it's hate. But I want you to listen to this because I was floored because I felt like I was vindicated. If I could do it all over again, I would probably have a better approach to the game and the position that I played. I never really had that affection and love for it until after my third year in the National Football League when I made that catch against Green Bay. Right. And then like 2 years after that, they let Jerry go. For you or and they asked me, did they put me in a position to fill his shoes? Mm-hmm. If I would have taken the approach to really like train like guys are doing now, off-season training, running routes, things of that nature, I honestly would have been a better receiver. But all I did in the offseason was play basketball. My only one season that I worked on the field with other like quarterbacks and things of that nature was when I got traded from San Francisco to Philly. Donovan McNabb wanted to come to Arizona. Brian Westbrook, I think Todd Pinkston and some other guys, Reno Mahe. I'm always searching. So the one time that he did what he was supposed to do was with the guy he ended up falling out with over the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's about right. The one person, everybody normally tends to fall out with the person that calls them on their shit, and then they want to go back and revisionist history is like, you know what, you was right, you was right, and that's the thing that comes back and kills them all the time, because it's like, why would you even? You should have never got to that point in the first place.
And this is why when I say things, I know if anybody hears what I say about, now I know that I had people like agree with me, but if anybody over the internet hears what I say about TO, I can imagine how many people are going to consider it hate.
Yeah,
Really? Listen to what he just said.
he admits it. That's the thing.
He 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 admits it. So my critique that the only time that I like T.O. is when I have him on the video game because I don't have to deal with the mookity mook. Boom! I've been vindicated.
Because, but we've had that. We also have had that conversation when I told you about the divaism of being a wide receiver and how it's starting to go out of style now, because you can sit there. Most of these wide receivers are gifted athletes, but what you're seeing is that the ones that are putting in the work in the off season to help to help get their wherewithal, to help get their um to get better every single time, are the ones that are thriving. When you sit there, when you see them in the offseason working out with the quarterbacks and stuff to get their timings together, anything, free agency comes in for it. What's the first thing that you're seeing? The quarterback sitting up there saying, hey, this is when we meeting up. You need to be here during this time frame for it so you can start learning the playbook for it. We'll be able to help you with your routes. I got to get my timing down to know how you break, where you like the ball at, everything else with it. Those are the things to where it's making that continuity be what it is. But for a period of time there, because let's call a spade a spade. We know T.O. and Chad are best friends. We know that they're good friends. If you would have seen Chad versus T.O., would you have thought that Chad was capable of putting the numbers up as an athlete versus T.O. for the freak of an athlete, the freak stature of an athlete that he was? No. You got Chad that sit up there and says, I sleep in the we took for granted, we thought it was funny when Chad was sit up there and said, my diet is McDonald's. I go to McDonald's and I get a couple cheeseburgers. That's my routine every day. I sleep and I didn't get a place when I was here. I slept at the daggone stadium for it. We kind of laughed and joked during that time frame for it. But what was Chad? What did they always say Chad was doing? Chad was a film junkie. Chad was always in the weight room. Chad was always doing those things with it. They were saying that in there for it. You never heard them say that Chad was out doing any of the stuff that T.O. was doing during that time frame. The only thing that you heard was Chad had an overzealous, he had a exuberance of personality.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I heard one other thing, but I'm not sure how true it is, although I did hear it from somebody that I heard it from somebody that I worked with. Again, I don't know how true it is, although the way things turned out in with the Patriots made me question.
Mm-hmm.
Made me question if there was some actual truth to it.
And I don't.
I will always put it as alleged because I don't know.
And I won't put it as it was like that the entire career. But when he shot up to and that meteoric rise to where he became Ocho Cinco and everything else like that, that's when it was like
he lost me at that point.
But see, I think that when he became Ocho Cinco and became the personality reached that climax of it for it, that's when he started to go down that path to where it was equivalent to what Terrell was during that time frame. But
Mm-hmm,
Terrell was
mm-hmm.
there from the jump. It was never a, ooh, I'm here. It was, I'm here already when I got drafted. Y'all got to deal with me. And it's always been that way. Chad kind of rose to that because he was killing everybody on the field. So after a while, the personality, the wide receivers, you have the NFL is based off of two things. The quarterbacks are normally these larger in life, but there's not too many of them that have an extravagant attitude. The ones that have the extravagant attitudes are the ones that the ones that they push to the forefront. That's why you see Brett Favre when he was in there, Aaron Rodgers when he was there, Tom Brady was in there, Peyton Manning. Think about what Peyton's doing now for it. Would you have thought that Peyton would have had the comedic chops and everything else that he's been showing since he's retired back when he was when he was playing for the Colts? No, we thought he was born as shit.
He was because even when he went on the roast, you could tell he was out of his element, but the writers gave him some pretty good stuff. They gave him some pretty good stuff. And that's what made it funny because you weren't expecting him, number one, to even be on a roast. And then number two, trying to roast people.
Yeah. So you sit there and you think, and that's where that clamoring for it, like, oh, damn, all right. I see what you're doing here, Peyton. But could you see anybody else do you can't see Drew Brees doing that. You can't see who else was it doing that? Even like Donovan or anybody else with it. You couldn't
even
see
Tom shocked me, especially on the Kevin Hart one.
Right. But see, I think Tom, you saw glimpses of Tom during that when he was going through all the investigations with the Flakegate and stuff like that, because of how snarky his responses was. So you saw he had the potential of him in there for it, but it was but beforehand, and you can see how fire he was on the sideline. Peyton would just go to the sideline, grab a tablet, and sit up there and be like, all right, we're supposed to do this and do this. Marvin, you're supposed to have been over here. Reggie, you're supposed to have been over here doing this. But he was more professorish.
Oh, now they do have a clip that they used to show. He had his moments because they had a clip that they used to show that God, what was his one oh man, the one offensive lineman that Irsay hired as the head coach and it didn't work out.
Just Saturday.
Yeah, just Saturday. They had this clip where him and Just Saturday went back and forth on the sideline. That was funny. That
was funny.
That was funny because it was something you didn't expect.
You didn't expect it, but you was cool with the fact of, okay, this is my quarterback getting in my ass because I did something I wasn't supposed to do. That's how it's supposed to be. But it's like you have to really think about it now to where it's like you wouldn't with now how the game is evolving for it, you don't see a lot of the wide receivers being that diva. You really don't. We can sit there and say
you always have people coming to their defense.
Right. But realistically now, who we consider divas right now? Could we say Justin Jefferson? Ain't nobody here. Could we say Justin Jefferson? Not really.
I'm not. I haven't seen any signs of it, in my opinion.
The closest thing that I seen was, and it's funny that I saw it. Somebody from the Bengals posted up. Jamar Chase was in a private jet with his Bengals helmet, sitting on the table with his visor on there, and they was like, we guess Jamar's on his way to training camp. Like, okay, he's got the money to buy him a PJ in order to fly into it. All right, cool. I give him that one. But it's nothing to where it's like they pounding their chest, sitting up there saying it's all about me. It's all about me. It's all about me. It's not, the only people that you see doing, you don't really see anybody doing that now except for defense. it's a rarity that you see anybody
AJ.
offensively doing that. Who?
AJ.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Everybody else they kind of took a humble approach, and I'm like that. I can deal with this. I like this style of it. Just let my plan on the field tells me what I'm doing. So yeah, I feel it.
So yeah, and I do when we started talking about Errol Spence, I actually have a clip of him basically announcing his retirement. So when we do go into that conversation, if you don't mind, I'll
Yeah, because I got feelings about that. I definitely got feelings about that one.
and then it actually made me ask a question because um we've been having this conversation a lot about people retiring early while they're young, while they still have their faculties, and what it's going to do to the sport. Now, everybody that's retiring isn't like a pivotal, big time. What is that? Is that what you were talking about in Tampa Bay?
Yep,
Trade request?
yep.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
let
that was
me
the other that is a curveball that I don't think anybody was expecting.
that is not good because when he's healthy,
All right, so folks, just to bring you up to speed with what we're talking about. Adam Schefter just reported within like the past half an hour, 45 minutes that defensive lineman Vita Vea has requested a trade from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't know if this is a Trey Hendrickson move, because this is around the same time Trey Hendrickson started pulling that move last year with the Bengals in order to get a better deal out of it, or is it legitimate? He's tired and he wants to get out of there. He wants to change the scenery for it. But for that to happen right before training camp, to me, is a crimson red flag, because one, either you're showing that you're only about you and not about everybody else, or two, there's been a fracture in that defensive scheme to where you're not feeling that it's suited for what you want to do for, or they're telling you that a rookie or somebody that they see might be coming up behind you. So you like, man, forget it then. If you think he's gonna be better than me, let me move out the way and let him take it. I'll go somewhere else where I want it.
apparently his agent Colin Roberts apparently said that the contract talks have stalled, which
What's up,
when
man?
they stall, that's usually then people start feeling some kind of way, and then they're like, all right, if you ain't talking to my agent, let's bounce
But
me up
that's
out of here.
but that's where the rub comes into play with it, because you've had contract most of these people have been having contract negotiations all since the off season. So you it's a play to where you wait until right before training camp, and either he's going to say that he's not going to report until he gets a new deal, or he wants to be traded for it, and he's not going to hurt his trade value from going out there and going to practice during the training camp for it, which
Right.
always sets you up for failure, because that means you coming in cold when you finally decide to come in. Once the fines have got too much for you to try to cover for it, so now you like, no, I'm going to go here and go play. I don't want to keep on paying these people free money in order for me not playing or not getting these game checks or getting a partial check for it up into that time frame.
Yeah, because
So
at the end of the day, that's basically what you're doing. You basically saving them money.
right, they like, shit. You don't want to come? We ain't paying you. We good. So yeah, that one, when that broke, when I saw that one, I kind of went, ooh. And then it's just been, and I want to say, uh, piggybacking off of that, it's been a lot of stuff going on outside of the playing field with a lot of people in the NFL this past weekend with
Yeah, I
Shanahan.
saw the Commanders fired their tight end coach for getting a DWI.
The Commanders fired their coach for getting a DWI. Something's going on down in North Carolina with Belichick's hit his right hand is on administrative leave because of an HR complaint. Then then Shanahan getting into the car accident. They just said something about part of the hold on, what the hell? Where's this at? Oh, it's getting ready to storm real bad.
Yeah, it started thundering real bad before you popped up.
Dad, then that flew. Because they was talking about they wasn't supposed to get here until almost 9 o'clock tonight. Okay. Um, they said that they said that Shanahan almost lost his eye in the car accident that he was in. So that was another one to where it was like, yeah, it says Athletic broke it, Chris Sims broke it on or about 20 minutes ago, where it says Chris Sims, friend and former college teammate of 49ers coach Kyle Shanahan, shared details on Monday about Shanahan's recovery from a car crash, which Sims said almost resulted in Shanahan losing his eye. Sims, while discussing the incident on PFT Live, also reiterated that Shanahan is dealing with lingering concussion syndrome symptoms. On July 14th, Shanahan collided with the SUV in Palo Alto, California, resulting in Shanahan suffering a concussion and fractures to his nose, ribs, and hand. The driver of the SUV was not injured. The Niners released a statement about the incident 11 days later, ahead of the start of training camp. Sims, who co-hosts PFT Live with Mike Florio, said he had been waiting for the news to break in the days following Shanahan's accident. I get a text from Kyle's wife, Mandy. She texts myself and my wife, and it's like, "Oh no, Kyle's been a part of some horrible accident." Sims said, and she sent us some pictures right off the bat, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Just to let you know, to paint a picture, you seen the injury report: the broken ribs, 40 stitches in the face, of the broken nose, broken left hand, and of course the bad concussion. But when you first see it and it's fresh, and some of the cuts are still open, I mean, it's jarring. He was this close to maybe losing his right eye, right? The scar is so big right here. And so all that stuff is just crazy to see. And of course, I was thinking of my friend, but yeah, it's tough. And he's still battling with this concussion. He's healing. His face looks a whole lot better. But this concussion, of course, being a part of that kind of accident is lingering and it's giving him issues. And he's certainly dealing with that.
Hmm. And then did you see that thing about apparently Eric Bieniemy's son shot his wife?
Eric Bieniemy's son shot his mama. Yeah, that broke this morning. That's what I'm saying. Like it's weird. It's been weird. Then you got Tony Romo getting pulled over for a DUI in Milwaukee. It's been, and then you already know the whole cluster that's going on at ESPN right now.
Right. And then I see something that was posted on ESPN around 1 o'clock. Coach Daniel Jones says that he's fully cleared for training camp.
Yeah, Jones and Kermit, Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, they both been cleared for training camp.
Oh, huh. Interesting.
Right. Completely cleared for practice. So that's gonna be very interesting.
He told Pat McAfee the plan is to be back in 11 on 11 full team drills Wednesday. when we start up practice.
Let's see for who, Jones or
He,
Mahomes?
Jones, he said that there's still work to do. As Jones said that there's still work to do as the Colts prepare for Week 1 when they host the Ravens. But he's feeling really good with where I am. After he received the franchise tag this offseason, Jones re-signed with the Colts, a 2-year, $88 million contract that could be worth up to $100 million. I still would love to know, had he not got hurt, where the Colts would have ended up.
If it, and see, this is why we play. This is why they play the games, because I secondarily think if he would have, I don't think that he would have been. They would have been out of the playoffs if he would have did it, because all they had to do was win 1 or 2 more games.
Wow. They still gonna be looking at some issues though, because Pierce is apparently on the
On the pup list.
yeah.
But see, Pup, the only thing about Pup is that basically there was an injury that was in the off season that they haven't fully recovered from. That's all. And they're giving them enough time to where they still on the roster, they don't count against the roster count, so they can bring in another player. They just gotta make sure when they activate them that they can cut somebody else out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, but going back to Villa, when he's not hurt, he's a problem in that middle.
He's a plug. He's a plug for that defensive line. You got to think about it. That's why when people ask the question of why it was so important for the Bengals to get Dexter Lawrence in that trade, a lot of people don't realize when you have a 2-man front on the front end of there for it, and one of them is going to take a double team every single time. If one person is taking it on 2, then that means everybody else is on 1-on-1 besides whoever the tight end is chipping. If they have a tight end in the line for the setup, that gives everybody else a better opportunity for them to be able to rush the quarterback. So Vita Vea used to take on 2, sometimes 3 offensive linemen with his size down there in that middle, especially if he lined up on the nose.
Because when he didn't, he was getting in the backfield.
He was getting in the backfield. He was getting to the quarterback. So it's like you have to understand. They have to understand that. So this is going to be a very, very big issue for them if they don't figure out how to do something with it. And I hope that it's just I've gotten to a point now to where I understand now the politics of it, to where sometimes it probably is just a play in order for them to be able to get more money out of the contract, or the hold the foot to the flame of the staff in order to get them situated with it. But at the same instance, it's the time.
I think he better also pay attention to the new thing that's going down, because it's going basically, if your name's not Jerry Jones, you're doing it, but you're doing the same thing Jerry Jones is doing, but you're doing it quietly.
True.
These players that have injury issues and a large injury history, and they're getting older and they're needing more money. Which speaking of that, because people keep bringing it up. They keep bringing up the fact that the Lakers are pivoting now that LeBron is gone. And then obviously you remember AD bringing it up. He was mad. But again, name young players, because it's one thing to point out an obvious fact, right? But then you're not pointing out the details to the fact. Yes, the Lakers are bringing over people that you asked for before, but were were they allowed or able to bring over who they wanted to bring over? Not who LeBron or anybody else wanted them to bring over that was going to cost them a lot of money and have them messing with the apron even before the renegotiation. Every one of these guys that I've seen that the Lakers have signed, they're a piece, but they're a young piece.
Right.
They're a we can afford piece. They are a young, affordable piece that, if I were to guess, and I know I'm probably going to catch some heat for this, but I'm going to say it anyway, probably easier to coach, especially for a JJ Redick. JJ Redick will have more position. It'll be more about him and his coaching and less about LeBron's coaching and his coaching working together.
It when it comes to that whole situation, what people are going to come to their own conclusions no matter what it is when it comes to
Yeah.
these things. And the biggest thing that you have to realize is that, okay, if I'm coming through and I'm talking and I didn't signed on to do this job, or he signed, they said it wasn't about winning, it wasn't about the money, it's about having the opportunity to win. All right, cool. So he took his ball and left when he wasn't the center of attention. That's what it is. Can't nobody complain and be mad about that.
Well, with the Lakers, I don't think that's what happened. I think Jeannie finally won.
Jeannie, that's a part of it. But the other part of it was the simple fact of, once they made that trade for Luka, and then they start and they you've heard the rumblings when they said, we're not talking to him about free agency moves or whatever it is. We're deferring to Luka with what Luka wants to be around there for it. LeBron's never been put in that position. Think about it. His entire career, wherever he's been at, has he ever been pushed off to where his decisions or what he wanted didn't matter? No.
Right. And that's how it should have.
That's how it should have been from the jump. No player should be controlling everything that the franchise does. But when you
kind of like with the owner of the Ravens and this whole thing after they fired Harbaugh, he said he valued Lamar's input, but this is his team.
Yeah, but I legitimately hate when somebody comes out and says something after a firing or something else like that in order to try to exude some type of control. Now, after you've shown for the previous years beforehand, you had no control. It wasn't about that. So now when you sit there and you think about it, you like, wait a minute, hold on. So now this is your team now that Harbaugh's gone? So was Harbaugh the one that was calling all the shots? Why are you saying it towards the only thing that changed was Harbaugh? Lamar's still there. So what do you do? Is it Lamar that's not in control? Was Harbaugh blocking you from making any decisions when it came to there? Make it make sense. But nobody can make it make sense for it. But people want to sit there and flex out. Yes, this is my team now. I do whatever I want to. Ha ha ha. I laugh in the face of danger.
Well, I think
ain't no point.
I think because they were friends.
Man, at the end of the day, it's a business.
There was probably some acquiescing and some trust that went that went far, but then when everything kind of hit the fan with Harbaugh and Lamar, then he was like, you know what? I've let this go too far. It's time to shut it down.
Okay, but the problem with that thought process is that we've seen this. How easy is it for you to be able to swap and make a bet to get another quarterback versus get a coach that can coach the entire team the way that Harbaugh can?
Yeah, but he had also lost the locker room too because he had clearly lost the locker room. So
Did he
and
lose? So,
and we know that because as soon as he got fired, uh your boy Zay came
but
at him.
and that's the other thing. It's okay to sit there and say like because Zay said something after the fact, but let's call a spade a spade. Was Zay is Zay in a position to where he can have that say and it has some influence? No. Lamar coming out and saying something like that would give me more credence, or Henry coming out saying something like that.
Yeah,
Shoot,
but
even a tight end coming out and saying something like that would do that. Zay Flowers, kid, man, nah. Dude, you better be lucky that he kept you on the team with how many drops you done had in meaningful situations.
fair.
So
Um,
for you to sit there and try to turn around and be like, nah, he need to, he's this.
he
Nah,
was he
nah.
was coaching us too hard. That's why we
But
was dealing with so many injuries in the
but
season.
but here's the thing. I would rather be coached hard and be in a position at the end of the day to win championships than to be coach light and win in 5 and 4 and 5 and 6 games a season and collecting a check. There's too many players that will sit there that got coached light that will sit there and be up to like, nah, I wish I could get coached like that. Because that way I'll be able to deal with I would have been able to I might have won a chip. But now I'm retired. I don't have that opportunity to do it. I wish. Shoot, going back to the beginning with T.O. I wish I would have did this differently. I wish I would have had this. I might have did this differently. I would have maybe I would have been had a longer career. I would have did that. It's real easy to say what you wish after the fact. But that's what they do. Everybody wants to sit there and wish after it's over with when they could have. Revisionist history is always I should have did this better. I should have moved this way. I should have did this differently in order to make it to where it made it work for me. And at the end of the day, that's fine. I understand it. I applaud that honesty for it. But we don't have time machines yet.
Yeah.
And if we
Uh,
go back and change it, if you go back and change one thing, what's the butterfly effect?
yep.
So yeah,
So speaking of stories that we brought up, I'll give a quick little snippet. The Washington Commanders fire tight ends coach Ben Steele on Monday, 2 days before training camp begins, um, and more than a month after he was arrested for driving while intoxicated. On June 7th in Loudoun County, Virginia, where commanders train, Steele was charged with DWI after he was observed to change course after signal. Okay. Um,
that sounds very vague.
Weird. But yeah, uh, I'm
He
wondering
went
if
left
that's
instead of going right. That's what it was. He went left instead of going right. That's all
uh,
it was.
let's see here. Steele also charged with obstruction, resisting without
Oh,
force.
never mind.
Uh, According to court documents, Steele refused a blood breath test and was released of his own cognizance Steele was stopped at 1 a.m. near Commander's facilities. According to the sheriff department, they determined he was intoxicated. He was arrested and transported to Loudoun County Adult Detention Center. He was released of his own recognizance. He is scheduled to appear in the General District Court on August 13th. Steele was officially fired for the violation of team policy. So,
So my question becomes with that was that if he did this, right? Well, because we're gonna say he's innocent until proven guilty. Why wasn't he fired right afterwards? Why was there a wait to fire?
because they had to get details. You know how it is. If they're not able to get details, you basically are good until they get the details of what happened. Soon as they can get their hands on the details of what happened, boom, done.
And if that's the case, but you should have been able to get a copy of the police report as his employer.
Right. But the question is how long did it take for him to get it? Like I
Mm.
said, I'm speaking hypothetically based upon this happening to other people before and what took them so long to actually get in trouble. It was like they usually wait until they get the actual information, they can investigate it for themselves, and during that time they're allowed to they haven't lost their job yet, so they can come to work and they can do their thing. And then, once it's like, okay, 2 plus 2 equals 4, 3 plus 3 equals 6. Okay, you got to go.
True.
This is going to be an unnecessary. This is going to be an unnecessary distraction, and we have to set a standard. We
Mm-hmm.
cannot let you get by with this, especially seeing that it did hit the airwaves, it did hit the internet, it did hit everybody that found out about it.
Yep.
That's the other part. So then, if for no other reason, they have to show that they're setting a standard and they set the standard for everybody. And this is not just a simple immoral thing like Vrabel. This dude actually broke the law.
True. And that's why I said, like, it's not even, it's not, he broke the law. He violated your policies for it. If you have a zero tolerance for it, it should have been over.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I should have kept reading. The incident occurred during a time when the Commanders were still holding spring practices. He was placed on leave by the team, according to a team source, and missed the final 2 OTA workouts, as well
Yeah.
as mini camp the following week. So they did send him home for a while.
Mm.
During this period, Wes Welker, and offensive assistant, and Dave Rai. Hopefully that's how you pronounce that. Raih, who was their
Right.
tight end, who was
Right.
their huh?
It's right.
Rahi. Okay. Um was their tight ends coach the past 2 years, but was promoted to pass game coordinator, worked with the position group. So Washington hired Steele in the offseason to fill. Wow. So he just got hired. If I'm reading that right.
Pretty much.
Steele was on the Cardinal staff the past 3 years and was credited in part with Trey McBride's ascension. Okay. Wow. So he was actually a talented piece, and unfortunately, they had to let him go. Steele served as an offensive assistant under Dan Quinn in Atlanta in 2019 and was the Atlanta Falcons tight end coach a, a year later. Steele spent time with 6 organizations as a player. I thought his
Hmm.
name sounded familiar. Before embarking on a coaching career. He also has coached with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Minnesota Vikings, and the Denver Broncos.
Hmm.
Hmm. Well, yeah.
I mean, I wish him well in his future endeavors.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Because everybody, at the end of the day, everybody has done something boneheaded.
Oh yeah, that's a given.
So I mean, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna sit up here and try to jump on some high horse because I'm not exactly perfect. I've made boneheaded headed mistakes. Um uh didn't cost me my job, but still. Um, but who knows? Maybe if I had, ascended to the NFL or something like that or baseball, maybe it could have, you know. Um So yeah, but yeah, the best of luck to them. Hopefully the Commanders are able to rebound because they got enough that they got to try to figure out with their team and getting them back to where they were. What was it? 2 years ago?
Yeah, two
Yeah,
years
they
ago
they
when they definitely have enough to deal with.
yeah I feel like another part of their problem is the people that they picked up. It's like I like Bobby Wagner, but if you know he's older and he's a little slower.
They I don't understand. That's why I be saying I don't understand why people do some of the pickups that they do. People just
And
see
then
a name,
Debo Samuel, I mean, he's a talent when he's healthy. Keywords when he's healthy.
right?
So, and he's asking for big money. I mean, and hey, if you're at that level, you deserve that money. Okay, but there's gonna be a
There's gonna be a trade off when you do something like that. There's
yeah,
always a trade off with it.
because if they paying you, who they not gonna be able to pay? Who they not gonna be able to pick up? And then that puts more pressure on you, which some people deem unfair, and it's not completely not true. It's true, but I mean that's what you signed up for. You want to do you want to be big money? Okay, okay, big money. Now you got to fill the holes that we can't fill because we paid you. That's what it is. You want that big money. With big money comes big responsibility.
Yeah, Spider-Man come out this week. You ready? They better be ready for it. Shit. Big money come big responsibility.
And I think that that's something else that gets lost in translation. Um, it just and actually, speaking of contracts, there was another thing. I'm not going to play it, but I do still want to talk about it.
Okay.
So, do you think that the NBA specifically, seeing that the NBA has done it more than anybody, the NBA is better off with the changes that they've made, making it where coaches have to coach the entire team, use the entire roster. Um,
Who said that?
and Well, he didn't say it that way, but what he said was he likes the fact that players are being willing to like take pay cuts. Um, here, I I said I wasn't gonna do it, but I got to do it.
Play it, play
That
it.
that 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 way we get clear clarification. It's that one guy like the Bell guy.
Mm-hmm.
No, not that one. You know what? It might have actually been that one. I'll play it and see.
Don't be too shocked. He said he doesn't need him. Jalen Brunson just shocked the NBA world when interviewed by Shannon Sharp. When everybody in this LeBron James sweepstakes pleading their case and putting their bid in, when asked did he put his bid in, his response was, I got a front office to handle all that. My job is to go out there and play basketball as hard as I can, play a little defense, and compete at the highest level. All the rest of that stuff, I'll let the front office handle that if they want to pitch to him. And what that means is he doesn't need LeBron. Well, clearly he doesn't. They just won a
That's not
championship.
what that
But
means.
he's actually bucking against a trend some would say was started by LeBron, which it wasn't, but I'll play along. And this old school style of play is actually winning now in the NBA. This teaming up thing is not winning anymore. Even Giannis going to Miami, I don't even think that team is going to be a playing team. I love this old school style of play, and I don't want to see teams teaming up anymore, even though LeBron did not start that. Go back and look at some of them old school Lakers and Celtics teams. Knock it off. Don't be too shocked.
So let me start off by saying this. Jalen Brunson saying that is not him saying that he didn't want LeBron. Stop putting stuff in people's mouths. And that's part of the reason why I get frustrated with podcasters and some of these people that's in there for it by taking a statement and manipulating it into something to where it tries to prove their point or give them more leverage in what their point is that they're trying to give with that. In no way, shape, or form, Jalen Brunson saying that he did not want to, that he doesn't get involved with that, was saying he didn't want LeBron. What Jalen Brunson was saying was that I'm here to play ball. If they come to me and they ask me my opinion about somebody, I'll give it, but I'm not interjecting in it, to ask that question. I'm not pushing in there. I don't need to sit there and be in the front office trying to control to be a de facto GM for it. That's what they get paid to do. I get paid for us to play basketball and for us to win. If I think somebody could be an asset for it, let's be real. I already did what I needed to do in order to get us to that point. I took less money so we can get more people in here. What more you want me to do? Give you the money and pick out the food for you? That's what they're here for. So when it comes to lobbying for somebody, okay, here's the thing. What's the number one thing that should lobby anybody that wants to come and play with you?
Winning championships.
And what did the Knicks just do?
They won.
And who did they sweep out?
Unfortunately, my Spurs.
And who else did they sweep out?
Philly.
Right. And where did LeBron go?
Philly.
And LeBron went to Philly. Why? Because he feels like he can win a championship on a budget.
And
with
and it also helps that one of the clutch sports guys is over there.
Right. And it also helps that the one GM that he would never butt heads with ever, and he said it openly before, is the vice president of basketball operations there, Bob Myers. The architect of the Golden Age Warriors is now in Philly. So I'm not mad about that. I'm not mad at that, but I'm not mad at Jalen sitting up there saying it's above me.
Do you agree that the league doesn't need players teaming up anymore?
I was a fan of that from the beginning. There was a clip, the guy that Just Say You Hate Basketball had a clip today where somebody was saying that somebody on a podcast said that Kobe would have been ecstatic about LeBron playing for Philly for it when Kobe had already been out adamant saying he hated super teams. He hated teams getting put together for the sake of trying to try to win a championship. He was built on building it around where you were at. And that's how I've always been. I grew up in an era to where we didn't have free agency like that. We found it awkward to see Jordan in a Washington Wizards uniform, to see Scottie Pippen in a Portland Trailblazers uniform, to see Charles Barkley in a Phoenix Suns uniform.
And Houston
Because
Rockets.
and Houston
And
Rockets.
Houston Rockets.
Right. We didn't get comfortable in that era until Shaq. Really? So it's not like this is something to where we diehard friends, if you are below the age of 30, this is all you know. You know the ring chasing culture. You know the people that want to jump around and say, hey, I want to play with my friends and treat it like it's pickup ball, but you're getting paid to play pickup ball with all your friends. And we've discussed this numerous times on this podcast, how many times has that actually panned out and worked?
It
Not
doesn't
too
work
many.
more often than not.
Right. Because for all the money that you don't let it be superstars, because especially with the second apron, for all the money that you guys are clamoring together in order to put it together for right now, you have no help. You have to do, that's why like he said, Miami might be a play-in team. Why? Because Miami has nobody else. Philadelphia, let's be real. If Embiid is not being a defensive stopper, and therefore the only defensive stoppers that you have on that squad is Jaylen Brown, because Maxey and Edgecombe has not shown that they are they are lockdown defenders. LeBron gonna be too slow, and knowing if Embiid's not there, LeBron's gonna be playing the 4 or the 5. So then what? So that's why it's like it's not it's a crazy world. It's a crazy dynamic when it comes to it. Am I surprised that he chose Philly? Yes. Am I shocked by it? No. Because realistically, if it was between Phillies and my Warriors, I would have chose Philly for it. But at the same instance with it, even if he would have went to my Warriors, I wouldn't have said my Warriors had a chance of winning a championship until I saw what was built around them.
Right.
And Philly, realistically, right now, Philly has a starting 5. What do they have on the bench?
Right.
So to sit there and I hate the Glazers. The people that when they hear something immediately because it's something that LeBron said. Matter of fact, you know what? I just thought about it. It wasn't a podcast. It was Rich Paul saying that on the podcast that he has with Max Kellerman, where he said Kobe would have approved of that. Man, Kobe would have reached up and slapped the shit out of Rich Paul for saying some shit like that. Oh, did you see that? Did you hear that gripe that they're saying is about to come out too?
What?
How is Rich Paul sitting up there having a podcast talking openly about contracts and everything else that's going on that might be actively negotiated for players that's within the league, and he's basically putting it out there on a platform as an agent. You're still an active agent.
They was talking about that last year.
Right.
Yeah.
But now it's starting to come back up again because it's not. I'm surprised they have not said anything about it in the ethics. Because in the ethics of it all, pretty much you can hype up your own players across a podcast that has millions of viewers or millions of followers on there for it, and be able to add that as leverage in contract negotiations that you are a part of. That's not cool. That's like basically saying using payola to sit there and say, I want this song to be on the radio in all these different markets for it, but I want you to emphasize Philadelphia, New York, everything else, because that's where LeBron James is playing, and try to push that narrative for it. I've never been a fan of. I'm a fan of sportscasters having their own podcast. I'm a fan of former players having their own podcast. If you are currently in the league, I don't think that you need to have one, because anything that you can say or do on that podcast can easily be deemed as conduct or something detrimental to the team, and it's putting you in a bind. Or you can let out secrets that might have been happening behind the scenes, thinking that it's cute to do it, and then that makes you look bad in your own locker room for it. Unless it's gaming, I will leave it at gaming. Other than that, talking general topics and stuff about the league and the people that you're around, and everything else like that, nah. Do that when you're done.
Yeah, yeah, but so many of them are doing it. I mean, even what's his name? The
Draymond.
Draymond, Micah, Darius Slay for a minute, and it's like,
It's like
if the what it takes to really, which for them, I know it don't take as much because they're such stars that they don't have to do as much as, say, like I would do if I actually had time to do so. The amount of time that I need to technically be putting in this to like really get this off the ground. Um, they don't have to put in the same amount of effort because they're already out there. They're already known because they're on the sports team. So it's a lot easier for them. Um, but like you said, there is that conflict of interest because uh you're speaking on the league for which you play. Is one thing if you're only reporting on baseball or you're only reporting on soccer or the NFL and you're an NBA player, or you're doing the other ones and you're not really talking about during the season, um, whatever league you're in. Different conversation. But when you're talking about everybody and everything, and that includes your own league, mm, it doesn't look good.
no.
So
And that's where it messes it up. That's that general rub where it messes it up.
all right, so
Earl.
let's go ahead and get started on the predictions.
Yay!
And like I told you, I did go back through so far. That's what I've been doing while we've been talking about these current topics. I've been going back through, been writing out the schedule, and I told you I had my list of like all the playoff teams, and as we go through, I'm basically tabulating like who has the more interesting of schedules in terms of prior playoff teams that they played that are now on the schedule, because that's going to be part of the strength, although which to me makes, especially when you have a bracket like this, like the South, like the AFC South, where they're basically they're grinding
Mm-hmm.
That makes every week like really important. Like you literally like you can't take a loss technically
Technically.
because it's going to be hard enough to beat the teams that were in the playoffs last year, depending on what moves they made and whether they got stronger. Heck, depending on what your team is like, they may not need to be that strong to beat you. So that means that everybody in your division, you have to beat them. And if you
Mm-hmm.
play anybody in the conference, you have to beat them, whether they were in the playoffs or not, just so you can kind of cover for if you do take a loss to those playoff teams because they came back just as strong as they were the year before. What do you think?
I think that more or less on those ones where they're going to be grinding, there's going to be the teams, depending on what their situation is. The one thing that that you're gonna see with the grinders is that if you're a grinder that finished last, you got a better shot at rising to the top than you did anybody else did. So if there's teams that you got to think, because here's the reason why the NFL ranks basically who plays who based off of where you finished the year before.
Okay.
So if you were a fourth place team and you had a 7-9 schedule and you're going up against other fourth place teams in the divisions that you are paired up with on there for it, if there are teams that are still in rebuilding mode, that should be easy wins for you if you didn't lose too much for it. But if you got up and comers that's along there with it, it might be a little bit of a battle. That's why that turnover every year is how it is. Washington got where they was that year when they got to that point, because part of that was they played a fourth place schedule. Indianapolis last year got to where they was, and even it wasn't Seattle. Somebody else did too. It wasn't New England. No, it was New England. Indianapolis, New England got as far as they did because they played fourth place schedules. They were playing against bottom feeders. So it makes it harder. That's why the true test of a lot of the teams is that if you finished in first place and you finished in first place and you played a first or second place schedule, then you got a good team. And you didn't get the injury bug biting you. That's what makes Kansas City and the Rams so dominant. But even the Rams was a byproduct of that. You got to remember that season after the Super Bowl, they fell off a cliff. And they rebuilt it and got it right back up there to it. But because they had the bones, the structures of it, they just had to get replace the pieces that had retired or walked away from it in order to get back in there for it. That's why a lot of these teams, when they do this, it's going to be interesting to see when it comes along with it.
Yeah. So like I said last week, we had already talked about our predictions for Houston. So from what I could see, and I'm going to look back over it just in case I missed a team or two. From what I could see, they're going to be playing. They're only playing 6 playoff teams from last year.
Yeah.
Which was weird because when I did Indies,
Uh-huh.
and I'm looking back over it to make sure I didn't miss something. They're only playing 4. Well, no. Well, they played the Texans twice. So yeah, you play the same team twice. Not gonna count that twice. That's fair, right?
Yeah.
So,
Because you
so
have to think because
Totally count it once, even though they playing them twice.
no, you count it twice because you have to because you depending on when they playing them, it might be totally different teams. That's the other part about it. I like how they separate. It's rare that you get. I hate one of the things I hated was when the Bengals had that run to where they played against Baltimore. They had another team and then they went and played at Baltimore like within 3 weeks. Nah, I want the divisional rounds on each end of the schedule. Then fill up everything in the middle against everybody else. That way, if the Bengals start out hot and then these teams develop, they gotta maintain it in order to beat these teams. If the team that they played against in the division was shitty in the beginning of the season, they ain't getting no better. Hey, they should be shitty at the back end. But
What the part that makes that hard is when you have to make sure that you also include like conference teams, like interconference teams, non-conference teams, and you're trying to make these schedules, and you have to stick with that same formula no matter what. It makes it harder to and then you got to figure out who's going to be prime time, who's not going to be prime time,
yeah,
and you got all this stuff in the muck that and calculating distance and travel and all this hippity hop. Well, in that case, since we're counting playing playoff teams twice, then that means that um the Colts play 5 teams because they play the Texans twice.
yeah. So makes it to where it'll work.
So yeah, I'm looking at everything, looking everything over. Yeah, they that's 5. If we were only counting playing the same team once, then they only got 4. They got 4 different teams, but one of them they play twice.
Twice, yep.
So now if you want, we can go ahead and start with Indy.
Okay.
All right. So Indy versus the Ravens. I don't know if Daniel Jones, if he starts week 1. I don't know if he's going to be ready.
I
And
don't think so.
if they start Anthony Richardson, that to me gives me more pause to say that's a game that the Ravens should win.
Yeah,
So
I'll
I'm gonna
put that
put
as a
that as a
loss.
loss for the Colts.
Okay.
Um, Indy versus the Chiefs week 2, and they're at Kansas City.
That's a loss. But Holmes is back. That's a loss. It's about to change a whole bunch of stuff. I think Indy starts 0-2.
Yeah. Although I am worried about the Chiefs offensive line. That the choosing their wins and losses is going to be very hard because of the fact that you know how I get when I'm talking about a team that has like major offensive line issues and trying to do the unknown, the known against the unknown. I hate that. So India gets the Texans. Okay. To me, that's 0-3.
Yeah. I think we already what did we have them in there for that game?
The Texans, I had the Texans beating
Yeah,
the Colts.
we both had the Texans beating them. So that's an L.
The Colts, with no matter who's starting at quarterback, the Colts Commanders game is interesting.
Yeah.
That game's going to be interesting. So I could see that being their first win.
Really?
It's a coin toss. Technically, it's a coin toss. That's why I said that's going to be an interesting game because both teams are last year dealing injuries basically took them out the box.
True.
So it's going to be interesting to see how they can rebound, which the Colts are already coming in not looking that great. Even with Daniel Jones feeling great, his star wide receiver that they just paid is not looking all that great. So how is that going to affect Daniel Jones? How is that going to affect the offense? Um, where's their offensive line? Where's the Commanders' offensive line? The people that the Commanders have is everybody going to be gelled and ready to show something different? Um, and the Colts defense was good. It could present a challenge, but not enough of a challenge where I don't see this game as like a toss up for either team. Um, Although with the Commanders having the more older defense, I can see them. I can see the Colts maybe getting the edge because guys are tired. Got to sub them in and out more. You putting in your backups and your rookies, and God forbid any injuries come up. So yeah, that game is interesting. I can see that being their first win. Um, I do not think. I think they can. I think it's a possibility that they can win against the Steelers. I don't think it's a likelihood that they're going to win against the Steelers.
I think they're gonna beat the Steelers. You can put the L. I think they're gonna beat the Steelers.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. All right. Got us a nice little head to head there. Okay. We'll
Yeah.
see. Um, Titans versus the Colts. Hmm.
I got the Colts.
I need to know. I'm gonna give it to him, but I definitely need to know who's starting because if Anthony Richards starting, I'm sorry, I don't trust him as far as I can throw him, which wouldn't be that far. Um,
Yeah, that's a good one.
the Colts. I mean, not the Colts. The Vikings. I'm gonna give.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give the Colts that one just because we don't know what's going on in Minnesota. They're looking like
You
they
gonna
are.
give them a victory?
I'm gonna get a coastal victory. Yeah.
I'm giving it to the Vikings. I'm giving it to the Vikings because here's the thing. Do I trust Kyler Murray more than I trust Anthony Richardson?
Oh, now if it's Anthony Richardson, I've already gone on record. I don't trust him as far as I can throw him. That's why it's so hard for me to give them wins. So but then again, I trust Daniel Jones more than I trust Anthony Richardson. But at the same time, how is he going to look coming back?
Right. That's why I'm saying at that point right then, even if Daniel Jones is back, how many weeks has he been back and how is he playing?
Yeah, mm, yeah, that's a toss up. But with Kyler, uh, if and the Colts do have a pretty decent defense that can give you problems.
Right.
And I don't trust Kyler in that situation. And even though he's a Michigan guy, I don't trust my Michigan guy either. Um, so I, mm, that's why I can't. That's why I'm willing to go ahead and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It is what it is. but but yeah, I can. Yeah. I don't have a lot of faith in the Vikings right now, and I feel so bad for Justin Jefferson. So,
This will be his last year there. If they don't do anything.
huh?
He had a tradable contract.
Let's see. Them versus the Jags. That's a L.
They losing to the Jags. Yeah.
Now, is it possible that they could ink out a win? Sure.
Yeah, but I'm going
Just
by.
just because of the fact that that's how they do. That's why that division is so tough. Times where one of them is looking like they on a heater, they play a division rival, and all of a sudden they lay an egg. So, but I'm definitely feeling like that will be an L for the Colts. Them versus the Cowboys.
Boo. They're at home. I'm giving them a victory. I can't deal with them Cowboys.
Yeah, I don't know. I know I say what I say about Jerry and the Cowboys, but I don't feel like the Cowboys are that bad off. They'll have to prove me wrong to to beat the Cowboys. It's like prove me wrong on that one. Uh, it's a toss up. I will give them a win against the Dolphins.
But okay, what you give them for against Dallas? You got them winning, or you got them
No,
losing?
losing.
Okay. Dolphins, yeah, I got them as a win.
Yeah, because the only thing the only thing worse than Minnesota, where there's a couple of teams, but especially the only other situation that is definitely worse than what the Vikings got going on is what the Dolphins got going on.
Yeah.
So
So
let's see.
okay, so Texans,
Texans lost.
that's a loss. That's a loss.
That proved me wrong. That proved me wrong. It's a loss until you prove me wrong.
Yep.
Giants.
Ooh. Ooh.
You know what? I'm gonna give them an L. I know the Giants got a lot to prove, even with them having Harbaugh, but I
I'm giving
feel
them an
like
L.
they'll be stronger. The Eagles,
They at Philly.
yeah, that I'll give them a dub against the Titans.
Yeah, I still think Tennessee's got one more year and then they'll be okay. At home versus the Bengals, that's an L for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I trust the talent of the Bengals more than I trust the talent of the Colts.
Mm. No, it's Cleveland. That's a dub.
If it's not a dub, that just signifies their
That's
year.
everybody getting fired.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. Although I am interested to see how it plays out with a new coach. Like I said, it's never about hate with Shador. I call it as I see it. I think that he could flourish. I just think he needs to get out of Cleveland. I would like to see what he can do in a good organization. Um, don't send him to the Raiders. Don't
He
send
ain't
him
going to the
nowhere
Raiders
like
now.
that. Give him some place where he can where he actually has a shot to show what he can really do.
Nah, he gone. And then Jacksonville.
Yeah, Jacksonville. They should be able to get a dub against the Browns.
No, what? No, the last game of the season was against Jacksonville. You got
Oh,
the
my bad. I put that as a L. Although it might be a dub if the Jags have a chance to go to the playoffs and they sit their players. So you know how that goes.
So I got them finishing 7-10. You got them finishing 6-11. Nah, that's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so now moving over to the Jags at Cleveland. They better beat Cleveland.
Yep.
At Denver, that's their first loss.
Yep.
Versus New England, that's a loss. At the Bengals, that's a loss. By then, that's normally when the Bengals start saying, "Hey, it's actual football season."
Joe better be glad I trust him more. I trust their team, but their
Oh my
offense.
God, who put together their schedule the first half of the season?
Yeah.
Shit,
Yes, sir.
because then they at Philly.
Yeah.
I mean, at home versus Philly, that's a loss. Then they got the Texans. Now I had them beating the Texans. No, I had them. I had them. Yeah, I had them beating the Texans, and you had them losing to the Texans.
Yep.
So let me make sure I got this right. So that's a W and an L for that one. W L. Then the Colts. After that bye week, we said that one was both. That's a win for them there.
Ravens is a loss.
Yeah. Tennessee.
That's a dub.
Yeah.
They're doing that thing you don't like.
What?
They
What?
beat the Titans, then they play the Giants, then they play the Titans again.
No.
Eh,
Um, wow. I just thought about that. Dayball's old team, Dayball. All right. So,
the Giants game.
yep. Someone's
Yeah,
in between playing against Dayball now.
yeah.
All right. So, winner loss against the Giants. Loss.
Um,
No, I got them beating the Giants. What am I thinking about? No, they're at New York.
yeah. At New York, by that time,
Hardball should be
the
established.
Giants better be the Giants better be cooking at that point. So yeah. I'm gonna L that one.
All right, then.
Unless if they start falling to injuries, people gonna start calling Harbaugh out.
Yeah.
But the only problem with that is didn't don't Kansas City do the same thing?
Not true, but I don't know.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Kansas City does the same thing. They play hard. They play hard, they practice hard. If I'm not mistaken.
True.
I can't remember who it was, but I could have swore one of the players during the time that they won the Super Bowls that they admitted that 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 practice is a doozy.
All right, so the return game against Tennessee.
I got that as a win.
At Chicago. L.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if your boy will be able to handle that D
All
versus the
right.
Steelers. Versus the Steelers. That's going to be an interesting game, especially at that point of the season. You know what? I think by that time they'll at least have enough magic to get the Jags a L.
Really? Huh. I got to be in Pittsburgh. All right. At the Texans, we already said that one
Lost.
was well off. I think we did.
And then they play the Cowboys and the Commanders. Well,
At the Cowboys, you know what?
oh crap. Uh
I think realistically, hold on, double check I did this right.
oh,
Yep.
okay. That's what I thought.
Realistically, I think they went out. I think they beat Dallas, Washington, and the Colts to end their season. And save their coordinator's job.
I'll give them the Commanders. I don't know about them boys. They'll have to prove me wrong on that one.
All right, so you're just giving them the L against the Cowboys,
Yep.
and then the Colts. We both said that was a win. All right, so here's the crazy part. This is how off we are on this one. I got them with if they sweep out, they finish 9-8. You got them finishing 6-11.
What'd you say I did with the Commanders?
Win.
Okay.
But you got them with a 4-game losing streak from week 13 against Chicago to week 16 against Dallas. And that's after a 5-game losing streak after in weeks 2 through 6. That's what's gonna kill them. That stretch in that first part of that season is gonna kill them.
I mean, if they can't get to Caleb, it's already been proven. If you can't get to Caleb, you're gonna be in for a long day. On top of the running game that they're making sure that they bring to the table. Now it's going to be interesting to see how the Bears season turns out this year, um, with them doing as well as they did.
Yeah.
Is that middle of the schedule going to be as soft as it was last year? And then how are Ben and Caleb going to react to it if it's not?
True. It's gonna be interesting to see how it play out. But
I mean, let's face it. One could question what would have happened in them Chicago games if Micah, if them Green Bay games, if Micah never gets hurt.
this is very true.
So, and they ended up playing them 3 times. So, and if I'm not mistaken, they lost the first time. They should have lost the other 2 times, but they did. So, and from the looks of it, 5 teams, but they have 6 games playing playoff teams. So the Jaguars did.
Oh, it's gonna be interesting with that one. I think they win and they save Cohen's job, but they come back to reality. All right, Tennessee Titans. Now, do they go into their new stadium this season? I thought, or is it next season? Because I know it's coming. Let's see here. For the Titans, we already said they lose to Houston.
Ooh.
The Colts, we had them. You know what? I'm sliding this over. Let's put them next to their group.
They're expected. Let's see here. It says according to what I looked up, the completion date is February 2027.
Okay, so they don't play this season. This will be their last season and Nissan Stadium. That stadium makes me want to cry. There's not too many stadiums that don't look like it's much, but it looks like it fits. They did their thing when they made that stadium. That's why I would love to go to the Super Bowl in that stadium. I would love to see that. Because that, ooh, boy. You seen the renderings?
Huh?
Have you seen the photos of that stadium?
No.
Oh my God. That Nissan State, I can see why they gave them a Super Bowl. That stadium's gonna be beautiful. And it makes me kick myself that our city was sitting up there applauding the new escalators and the new club suites and the better bathrooms in our stadium. And we keep on getting lapped. But can't win them all.
I don't know on that.
Where's Titans? All right, so Titans, they got them losing to the Colts. I'm plugging in what we already put for the Titans already. Because
Okay.
they should have already, they should be like 0-6 right now. Already. Yep. Got them with 2 losses there.
You got them losing to the Jets?
No, I'm going back from everybody in their division.
Oh, okay.
I'm plugging those in first, then we'll run through. Jags, we got them. Yep, got them losing against the Jags. Both sets. That just sucks for you guys. I'm sorry. You shouldn't be Tennessee. Why am I I'm missing something. I'm missing something. Where? Jacksonville. Oh, the other Colts game. That's what I'm missing. Week 15, we got the win in that one. Yep. So we got them losing their division.
Yeah.
0-6 against the division. All right. So against the Jets, realistically, win.
Yeah, I got that as a dub.
All right. At Philadelphia, versus Philadelphia. Loss for me.
Yeah, that's a loss.
At the Giants.
Loss.
At Baltimore. Loss. Jesus Christ. Versus Cleveland. Week 7. Win. At Cincinnati.
You know what? I don't know about that one. I'm not talking about the Bengals. I'm talking about Cleveland.
You think they lose to Cleveland? Ooh, if they lose to Cleveland, then that means that whole regime might be getting looked at early.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I just hmm, like in that division, like the I know they got some pieces, and I know that they showed some signs, but and I know the Browns are a dumpster fire
Complete and utter.
front office wise. Uh, you know what? I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna say that's gonna be their second dub.
I
Browns
got
going the Browns gonna have to show me something because
I got them winning that one too. I don't
yeah.
trust Cleveland. All right, at the Bengals,
L.
is it bad I hesitated? God, I love this city. It's jilted me. Uh, at the Cowboys.
L.
Yep, looks like another number one draft pick coming their way. Versus the Commanders.
The Commanders better not be so weak that they can't even beat the Titans.
So L for that one.
At the Lions. Wow. Jeez.
Yeah.
Versus the Colts. Versus the Raiders. Wow. You know what? I might be wrong, but I'm going to say this is their other dub. I like Mendoza, but
I think that this is when Mendoza starts playing, but he's still gonna have his growing pains. And then versus Pittsburgh.
that's an L for me.
L for me too. So we both got him at 3 and 14. God damn.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah. And let's see here. Playoff team. Yeah, they don't play that many playoff teams.
Nope.
So that's potentially a recipe for some
For
upsets.
disaster.
Yep, that's a recipe for some upsets for them and for Indy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that,
right now we got the AFC South champs by far is the Houston Texans.
yeah.
I got them at 12 and 5. You got them at 14 and 3.
And I'm
Then
worried about Stroud, but I still feel like that defense is going that defense is going to cause too many people problems unless people can figure out a way to um unless people have figured out a way to bolster their offensive line to where they can present problems to them, which is not impossible. I mean, especially with CJ not being that trustable.
so we got the Texans in first place. I got the Jaguars in I got the Jaguars in second. You got a tie between the Jaguars and the Colts in second. I got the Colts third and the Titans fourth.
Okay, so let's see here. How much?
It's 8:30 now.
Think we can pull off the NFC South in
In 30 minutes?
25 minutes?
Mm. It's gonna be tight.
All right.
Or do you want to hold off and do them next week and then just go ahead and talk about Arrow before we get out of here?
Oh, you know what? We didn't talk about him, did we?
No, we didn't talk about Arrow.
That going at them other topics. Where does the time go?
Wow.
Damn, I ain't get off the 3:30. I had open on these today.
All right. So you go ahead and you start with yours while I'm trying to find his
About Arrow?
yeah.
All right, so I don't know why he took that fight. Well, I know why he took that fight, but I don't know why he took that fight. He was not ready to go to war like that. And part of
Who did he
me,
fight?
Tim Tszyu. So the problem with the reason why I'm saying that is that I'm glad that they replayed it. There was conversations that he was having with Andre Ward leading up to the fight where he was talking about how he trained when he fought against Crawford. And that he didn't do a lot of sparring. All he was doing was hitting the pads and everything else while he was getting ready to fight against Crawford. And hindsight being 2020, he didn't do what he needed to do in order to win that fight and everything with it. And they asked on a podcast to Crawford after he heard that snippet, and Crawford said something that was poignant. He was like, you had a rematch clause. If you felt like you didn't train right and wasn't prepared for the fight that you lost, why didn't you invoke the rematch clause? It's easy for you to say this now, a couple of years later, with no chance of rectifying it, than rectifying it right then and there and going through another camp, doing the things that you felt like you missed and tried to change the outcome. So, and looking at that, and then looking at that, how that was still on his mind going into this fight, I don't think that I think one, he took his opponent lightly.
Uh-huh.
And then two, I don't think his head's been in the game really for a while now. And I think that that's what separates. I never thought that Spence was as good as what everybody said that everybody was putting him up as. I always thought there was holes in everything for it. Then when he got into that major car accident that almost killed him and fought back for it, I said that he probably lost a part of himself in that car accident. To see that fight, the highlights for that fight that I saw, everything for it, he was outclassed, he was outmatched. So for him to come out afterwards and say, you know what, I'm done. I'm proud that he's had the wherewithal to say, you know what, I can't do what I'm supposed to do or fight like I know I should be able to anymore. I'd rather go home, take my winnings, take my earnings, and be at home with my family than take it there. And like we talked earlier about having all my faculties and go on with it, then take the beatings. And it's crazy because with the conversation that you started earlier, where you said that it's a lot of people, younger people, that are saying that for it. This is what, across all combat sports, I'm happy that there are people that are sitting up there saying, you know what, enough is enough, I'm getting out. I don't want the George Foreman's coming back in their late 40s, early 50s, coming back and fighting for heavyweight titles out of nowhere again. I don't want that.
I to a certain extent, I can understand why you don't want it, but I feel like George was an anomaly.
George was an anomaly. But here's the thing.
George was an anomaly because of his punching power. I mean,
Right.
the
Hold
man
on.
could
Hold
turn
on.
you into a one-man earthquake. I,
True.
just it doesn't matter. It didn't matter how fast your hands were, because when George hit you, you rethought everything. You rethought everything. I don't care what nobody say. That I'm not gonna give you much pushback because I understand where you're coming from, and I kind of agree because I can remember watching some of the fights like George. The dude is running circles around you, but then the thing that would have me pivot off of that thought is when he hit him. It just okay, George, keep doing your thing. Just and
But
the way
the
he
problem
blocked
with
the way he blocked punches makes me agree with you. But again,
but see but see
he
the other part about that when it comes to George, when he does that, is George was George. George could just hit you upside your head and make you collapse.
yeah.
But then you got the reason why I'm saying that is that look at the heavyweight division now. The heavyweight division now, we worried about Fury versus Joshua. We
Yeah.
worried about what's we call it, gave up all the belts and he wanted to fight Wilder.
Usyk.
Uh I forgot what's his oh dad. That's bad when you can't even remember who it is because it's not it's so out of they
Is
so out of touch now.
you know what? The sad part is I just saw something about that. Matter of fact, aren't they supposed to be showing that on Netflix?
Uh I thought so. That's Wilder versus Chisora. Fury wants Usyk. That's what it was.
Yeah, Usyk. Yeah.
That's what they're trying to do, but the Usyk just wants that as his last fight. But this is what I'm saying. When it gets cumbersome, when you're not as sharp, we're not gonna have errors where it's Floyd or it's Pacquiao still running around, or um those are the main two we can sit there and say that was still going into their late 30s, early 40s, and still had their faculties with that. I think Terrence sat there and said, I done did it. I've been fighting all this time for it. I'm done.
Does that man not know what retirement means?
Huh?
I said, does that man not know what retirement means?
Who?
Derek Chisora.
No. Because and see, that's the thing. When you fighting because you fighting to keep your money up.
And the reason why I brought that up was I looked it up, and the AI overview basically said he does not have an official fight booked, but he is in active discussions, high profile matchup later this year for potential opponents that include a targeted farewell bout that you just mentioned against Usyk, or a rematch with Derek Chisora, who I thought I watched him fight his final fight with Fury, and that was supposed to be his farewell fight.
Nah. Got Kato to pop it in real quick. Uh nah, I did he should have easily just backed that off. I think he should have easily when Chisora fought against Wilder, that was just people just swinging for the fences. It didn't make no sense. It wasn't no rhyme or reason. That's why it was like, uh, That's why it's like I don't even know what the heck to do when it comes to that. It's not even. I don't want to see those heavyweights. I want to see up and coming heavyweights. And every time there's an up and coming heavyweight that starts capturing everybody's attention, he loses and then his attention goes away.
That's all it takes. Same thing with a lot of these, and that's why I don't like the guys with the big mouths, because as soon as they lose, which speaking of, you heard the latest on Bronner.
Yeah, I've been keeping tabs of it because he's doing full transparency. I'm happy with what he's showing with doing the stream with the guy and showing him getting himself back in shape and taking it seriously. I hope that he can get back a semblance of what he was from it. It's going to be tough because his main trainer is no longer with us. So he's doing it more on his own based off of the memories of how he trained him, and then having other people like Zab Judah and everybody come in there and kind of help training it.
Oh God.
But they're getting them back, because if you would see the journey, if you was to go back and see how it was when they first linked up and they was doing all the streaming and everything else for it, to now, he's instilling discipline in that young man that you would have never thought AB would have been on. What? What?
Dang it. You said we can't do it.
What?
Dang it.
What?
Whew. That would be, oh my God.
What?
So NBA Tracker Group said pick Ford to build around AI to help him win a ring.
For to build around AI.
Yeah.
Now or back then?
I'm guessing back then. Well, it's definitely back then, because all the faces is back then. Now
Who did they have? Who did they have? Because here's the thing.
They have the following people are surrounding AI right now: Kobe, Carmelo, Garnett, Shaq, Vince.
All right. Oh, wait. Let's roll back. Let's take them one by one, and it will be no, because they weren't even that. Don't they need to? First things first. When you put together this list, you need to, one, if they're the player that you mentioned in that list never left the team that they played for, they should be automatically disqualified. So that would take Kobe off the list. That would take Duncan off the list. Who else? Okay, so let's start there. So Kobe's off the list already. Who was the
Okay, so that narrows it down to Jason Kidd, Tracy McGrady, Vince, Shaq, Garnett, and Carmelo.
Shaq.
Right.
Shaq, Carmelo, Garnett, and McGrady, because you wouldn't put Vince because Vince plays his position. You wouldn't put Kidd because Kidd plays his position. Because you got to remember, Iverson was a point, but he can play the two. So those two, out of those two, if you're ranking everybody else that's left, I'm sorry, you would put you wouldn't say Vince was better at that prime than McGrady.
Fair, but Carmelo, wouldn't Carmelo slow down the offense enough to where that would create a problem for AI?
No, because they didn't. Because toward the back end, they was working fine together when they was in Denver. They were working. Because you gotta remember, Denver had a squad back then that was J.R. Smith.
They had a squad, but I also remember that the same issue that he had, I felt like he wasn't able to adapt to the situation.
He couldn't adapt to George Karl.
Right, but then he had the same problem in Detroit. So it wasn't just George Karl. It was being when you spend so many years playing a certain way. When you spend so many years playing a certain way, everything's on you. It's hard when you actually get somewhere to let go of the reins. I feel like the latter part of his career, that's what the problem was.
And okay. So let's call a spade then. If we're going to sit there and say that question with that, then does it matter who you put around them during that time frame to help them win a championship? Because everybody that's on that list, you're going to have to let go being the alpha in order to make it work. And that's a whole list of alphas.
Well, I mean, you did exclude Duncan. Duncan's not alpha. Duncan would have worked.
Have you been hearing Steven Jackson them talking about and KG talking about how they hated playing against Duncan because Duncan trash talked to them and it was never full sentences?
Yeah.
That mentally showed he didn't. That's like the epitome of an alpha. I don't even have to give you a full sentence and I've gotten you flustered.
Because they weren't expecting, because he's so nice, they weren't expecting him to do the trash talk, and then he's doing it, and they don't. It's like you basically underestimating what a person will do or what a person's capable of, and then you in the midst of dealing with it, and you don't know how to deal with it because it's like. I didn't expect this to be a part of your arsenal because you such a nice dude.
But that's the one thing that we always say, two things. One, be careful of the quiet ones.
Yeah.
And then two, when you on the court, if the worst people that you want to be on the court is the ones to where no matter what you do, they in their game. You can sit there and you can be bodying them. You can be talking shit. You can be calling their mama every type of name. And what are they doing? Giving you the blues. And the worst thing that you can do after that is after you gave them the blues is to pat them on the butt and say, nice try, buddy. That would irritate your soul. So that was the thing. They always said, Duncan didn't have to talk loud. His game and what he did during the games made sense with it because he understood where everybody was. He knew the entire game for there. That's why I said if Duncan would have been eligible off that list based off of that requirement, me dropping that requirement of somebody that's been with the same team, Duncan would have been the number one pick.
Yeah.
Because Duncan, that's the one thing. If you really think about it, that's the one thing that Iverson never really had. He had Dikembe on the back end. He never really had a definitive center or power forward that could run with him and go do it. That he could drop 20 or 50 and that's it. And if he wasn't dropping 20 to 50, the other person could drop 20 to 50.
And that's why I worried about putting Carmelo in there. Not that I don't think that he's a talent that can play. What I understood that he was a talent that could play, but me and you have talked about it. The one thing I felt like Carmelo was an old soul. He was on teams that like to run up and down the court, and he was the one that as soon as he get the ball, he posting up.
Mm-hmm.
He's posting you up more often than not, which slows down the offense. And that's why
he was the epitome of a true 3 to a 4.
And that's why me and you always talked about it at the time, and you ended up thinking about it. It took you a second. You had to think about it at first because I saw it in your eye. You wanted to dispute me, but then you thought about what the nucleus of what Memphis had going on, and you were like, yeah, that probably would have been a better spot because he wouldn't have interrupted anything because
No.
Memphis played slow.
Mm-hmm.
So you could have stuck him in there, stuck his point production and everything, and that would have helped Philly. I mean, that would have helped Memphis more than him going everywhere else that he went, where it was more of a up tempo type of offense.
But that also comes into the what we always talk about when it comes to free agency. Too many people go where the money is and not where the fit is. The people on the lesser end of it, that's at the mid levels and below, they go where their fit is. But for the main part, most of the people that are on that's on the upper level or the superstar level, they go where the money is. And that's why when Durant takes the heat for what he did, I don't knock it because Durant knew his play style fit in that cycle for it. Because here's the reason why. The only reason why I say that is that everywhere he's went since then, when it's been about the money, he hasn't fit.
And the stacking of players. And the reason why I've never agreed with the stuff that he caught from that, he didn't go to them like everybody was painting the narrative. They came to him.
Right. That's been my number one argument from day one. Everybody sits there and we are so quick to talk about the banana boat when everybody was plotting and strategizing together and failed to mention what happened with the Hamptons.
And I feel like what's his name gets a pass.
Who, God?
Yes, when his was worse because he was literally talking to his friends. They planned it. Matter of fact, if it wasn't for Amari Stoudemire, New York would have been had their championship more than likely because everybody was supposed to have ended up in New York.
And see, and the other part that I always want to emphasize when it comes to that was that God has always basically told you what he was going to do before he was going to do it.
Well,
he had the whole decision. But everybody kind of knew because it was written in what basically it was a package deal when he did the decision. So he had that one. Then once he realized that the writing was on the wall, he did his 4 years, he did his contract there. He was homesick. He had already been putting out there that more than likely he was going to go back
on the
home.
plane anymore. Yeah.
Right. So he had his idea he was going to go back home. He went back home. Then once he got that chip, and then the Warriors sat there and said, "You lucky son of a gun, we about to bust your ass 2 more years in a row."
If I could ever ask him one question, my question will always be, because to me, part of the reason why he went over to the Lakers is because he wanted to take down his nemesis from within. And
that wasn't the reason why he went to LA.
Huh?
That wasn't the reason why he went to LA.
Had to have been part of it.
No, but none of it. The reason why he went to LA was business. He wanted to make sure.
I get that part.
Yeah, but that's the only part. That realistically, that was the only part. He wanted to make sure that his kids was in one of the top schools in LA, in that area, at Sierra Canyon. He wanted to make sure that his Hollywood ventures that he had parts in with Rich Paul, them, and everybody was all in there for it, because you got to think about it. He wasn't nearly doing the podcasting, the movies, or anything else until he got out there. And he wanted to live out in California. It was all business. And he thought that he legitimately, if Luka wouldn't have gotten traded to the Lakers, he would still be there. He wouldn't have left because why would you have? He wouldn't have left Southern California. You got the Olympics getting ready to come there. The perfect scenario for LeBron James would have been I played until this next contract. I would have signed until 2028, and I would have played the Olympics in LA, and that would have been my swan song for me to bow out in season 25. But LA changed the narrative. That's why he had to get out of there. And his biggest thing is
the sad part was the writing was on the wall. They told
right, but it's
the press
hard
conference told everybody that was going to be Luka's team.
But you don't tell God your plans.
Yeah, but he didn't react to it until he didn't react to it immediately
because he thought
was like it was like he saw what they said. He
thought they was lying.
Right. And then when it started like, oh wait, y'all was serious. Hey.
Right. And then the whole narrative changed. Because here's the thing. And before, because we gotta go. But here's the thing. Yeah, actually, we gotta go. But here's the reason. Here's the last thing that I'm gonna. Huh?
Actually, I'm good.
Okay. Well.
Yeah. I got canceled.
Yeah. Oh well, shoot. I still gotta go. It's almost 9.
Oh, okay. Got it.
But the fact of the matter was this: when he, easiest way I can sit there and say this. I said it last year when he opted into the contract. When he opted into the contract and took the max amount, what did it do to the Lakers? It handcuffed them. They couldn't do anything because he was on the market for there. Now, if you really wanted to win a championship again in LA, would you have sat there and handcuffed them, or would you have sat there and said, I'm going to waive my deal and take a 3-year, $12 million contract?
But he already took pay cuts over the years. He not making as much as he could have made in the league.
And you know what they did? And you know what they did with that whole sentiment and that whole thought process? Balled it up and threw it out the window when he signed for 2 years, $8 million over in Philly in order to go over there this year. This is where people don't realize the shit that they have said or done and then make a move and don't think that people with a computative mind is not going to sit there and throw it right back at them. You took less to go to join a super team in Philly instead of taking less and building a super team in LA. Now, like I said before, and I'll say it again before we sign off, if Philly does not go further than LA in the next 2 years in the playoffs, then you wasted your money.
Well, you know the LA ain't gonna do nothing. They got all them white boys over there.
Right. But here's the problem with them white boys. Them white boys about to come to LA in 4 years. And if Team USA ain't got their act together, them white boys or them French boys about to take that gold medal.
I still can't believe with all the stuff about race that gets brought up. Which don't get me wrong, I've seen it done. I'm 49. I've seen it done where people pull the race card, and then they go and say something just as stupid like that. And it's like, what? And like you do know what you just did, right? Like when everybody was going at at Eminem and good and even doctor that one Dr. Umar talking about you remember what he said is ridiculous. but yeah, there will always be a part of me. I know you gave me all your facts, and I do remember hearing all of that, but I still feel like, to a certain extent, it may not have been a big extent. I feel like part of him wanted to try to take down the Warriors from over there.
Part of them might have wanted to, but we also have to think about it from this standpoint. By the time he got over there, was the Warriors anywhere where they was like they was when they took him down? No.
Which to me made it seem like an easy decision. Like okay, I can fix my legacy if I go over here. Yeah, I got this stuff going on. I
And
can
you
do this, I can do
still,
this, and I can do this,
but that's
and I
the
can
wrong way to
take
think
them
about
down
it.
from within.
Right, but that's the wrong way to think about it because here's the thing. If you really think about it from there, who was more successful during that time frame when he was in LA? Him or the Warriors?
The Warriors.
Right.
And
So
and
you hurt
that's what I
your,
loved about it, that it blew up in his face and it proved me right
yeah, you hurt your legacy.
that the Western Conference was tougher than the Eastern Conference. And trust me, I was all about it. I was like, woo, woo, woo. Yeah, good decision, LeBron. Thank you. Thank you.
Right,
You
because
proved my point.
because at the end of the day, when you really sit there and think about it now, after he made that move from there, that's why I said what I said. The only thing that would have made his legacy whole with that would have been to form the new Avengers with
And
them and the Warriors.
and the Lakers thought that they could pull off what LeBron was pulling in the East. That's the only reason they went with it.
Yeah.
And they turned on it. They eventually joined us in turning on it because they saw that wasn't it.
No, because at the end of the day, you cannot realistically, you cannot build a team now around LeBron. You can't. You have to get younger. Because like I said before, after year 20, all LeBron got to do, when they said LeBron was battling sciatica at the beginning of the season last season, I'm like, because he's old. There's only so much jumping and planting that you're going to do on that frame, no matter how much muscle mass you have, that to where your nerves in your back and your spine does not start to affect you. You've been doing it for 20 years.
And part of me was wondering if that was a part of him just, you mentioned it a couple of times. It was it really that, or was it him throwing the tantrum because the writing was clearly on the wall at that point?
It might have been.
And so yeah. So and we'll never know because obviously I don't know him. I can throw that up in the air, but that don't mean it's gonna stick. But the way he rolled at that point, the whole thing that he did with the All-Star game, where he could have, like, dude, you could have let somebody else have that spot if you couldn't play.
But he didn't want to because that's what Lance McAllister posted up today, where he was like, what's the outcry? What's the outrage when it comes to LeBron for what he did in order to choose Philadelphia? And Lance, if you ever see this, I want you to understand what the outrage was for it. One, true Lakers fans never wanted that headache there. We accepted it because that's what our front office did. But if you would have gave us a choice between that and Donkey from Shrek, we would have took Donkey from Shrek. Two, the reason why this outcry and this total outcry has came out from fans and the general sports public alike for this was that you are not the top free agent. You're not the top player. You have been the top player, but you're not that anymore. And you took 3 weeks to drag it out. Now, here's the other part about it. What has happened in them 3 weeks? We had almost an entire World Cup. LeBron was taking headlines. We've had NFL. We had the last part of NFL free agency and everything getting ready for training camps. What took that over? LeBron trying to figure out what he wanted to do. Shit, you didn't have ESPN fire people that's been there for 33 years and won them Emmys. And when did he announce it? Right after all that shit hit the fan. Why? Because at the end of the day, LeBron, aka God, wants the world to revolve around him. And if that means I leak it to my agent, which is my best friend, while he's on his podcast, for him to send it into ESPN and Shams, for Shams to announce it out the blue in the middle of a Friday, to make sure that the whole rest of the day it's about me and my choice and what I did and what it is for it. That's your ego. And that's all this has been about. It's been about ego. When Jordan came back, what did he do? He sent a one-page fax saying, I'm back. When LeBron wants to do something, the world is supposed to stop because LeBron said something. And it's not an Ohio thing. It's not a Laker thing. It's not a Cleveland thing. It's not a Miami thing. It's not a Philly thing. It's a LeBron thing and his entourage. And the longer that I really, really hope Philly goes up against the Knicks and the Knicks beat the brakes off of them again. With Embiid trying to piece it together and trying to basically duct tape himself to get out there and play. Jaylen Brown is the star. Because here's the thing that people are not realizing here for it. You left a star to join another young star, 2 young stars, 3 young stars. Are you going to try to take it over and make it your team? Because here's the thing. We already know Jaylen Brown is already outspoken. You think Jaylen Brown's going to sit there and let LeBron come in there even if he's doing that and let it go?
Very interested to see how that. I wish I could be a fly on the wall in that locker
That
room.
dynamic is going to be interesting because as soon as LeBron starts flexing, well, I'm year 24. Well, nigga, I'm right now.
I'm very interested, and this is not a hate thing. I want to see if it's going to work.
Realistically, and there was a photo that was out there that showed that starting 4. I mean, it's starting 5, right? Where does it work?
That's going to be the question.
Because
will everybody be able to work together to the point to where everybody will know how and when to work into it? Will it be like some of the will it be like a lot of what you saw with the Lakers where while people were screaming for certain people to get traded here and there, as soon as the ball dominant people passed the ball to the other people that everybody was screaming should have got traded, all of a sudden the team started gelling.
Here, the crazy part when it comes down to that whole thing is this, and I'm looking at it from an entire basketball thing as a whole.
Okay.
Maxi's running the 1, right?
Yep.
Edgecombe will be the 2. Brown would be the 3. So you already got LeBron playing the 4. And Embiid at the 5. Do you think that LeBron is going to be able to deal with anybody with size on the block or down low, or anybody fundamentally quicker than him on the block or down low as the 4 or sometimes sliding over into the 5 if Embiid is hurt.
Well, I mean, if they do like they used to do for him back in the day and they just move out of the way, he should be fine.
No, I'm not talking about on offense. I'm talking about on defense. That's the thing. He's going to score, but can he stop anybody that's a 4 or 5? Do you trust LeBron on Wemby?
You might make things a little interesting.
Maybe a little interesting. But when you think about it from this standpoint, he loved having Alex Caruso on his team because he didn't have to play defense as hard.
Right.
Who's your Alex Caruso on the Sixers?
Better find him.
You better find him quick.
Court and find him.
You better find him quick. Because that is the situation that you have right there. Because Philadelphia has to go into this season banking on the fact of I should only pencil in Joel Embiid for 40 games.
That is just ridiculous. But
and knowing that on the back end, on my rim protection, I don't have no rim protection. My wings is good. My inside, nope. And I'm getting people like Andre Drummond and shit like that to come in there on low end salaries in order to come in and come help supplement. I think that's who I saw it signed in for him. Nope. That's not going to solve anything. They're exposed on that back end. Yes, you got the height. Yes, you got that in there. But unless LeBron sits there and says, I am going to dedicate myself to being a post defender and rim protector, not just worried about people on a break and trying to chase them down, which I'm sorry, at that age, I don't want you chasing down no blocks because you hit your hand wrong or you come down wrong, you out.
yeah.
So, that's why I said I love paper basketball. I love it to death. Because paper basketball, you can sit up there and play this like it's 2K27 and have it to where you then drew the cards or you got your team together and you got them all situated with all the superstars and you got people playing out of position and everything else. And all it takes is for somebody to know how to expose holes and know how to actually play the X's and O's of it, and they will sit there and beat you by 45. And then people will be up there like, but it's LeBron. And even God had to play defense. And the true God is a multiple-time defensive player of the year. But that I digress.
All right. So, it's been fun.
As usual.
We are going to get through. We are going to get through the predictions, but
curveballs happen.
Curveballs happen, and they're gonna happen. Unfortunately, I can't be like ESPN and the rest of them and spread my show out every day so I can put stuff on the back burner and save it for the next day. We'll try to figure out a way around it so that we can get this tweaked and do great things. But we are improving, and that's a start. So progress is always good. Anyway, I am Dante Suave, and this is Mr. J, and this has been United World of Sports, and we will see you guys next week.
Later, everybody. Have a good week.